Candace Owens is going to tell us about why Taylor Swift is horrible at music. Apparently.
Modern art is really, really bad. It's awful, actually. It's not art at all. What it really is a tremendous effort from journalists to convince you that dog shit is food. That's really what's happened now. So just one example, the Guggenheim Museum in New York City once featured a porcelain urinal. Yeah, how's that for art? Imagine you're walking around a museum and you see a porcelain urinal. Now you'd expect reasonably that any honest person would write an article about that and say, this is bad, this is awful, what is happening to art? But no, leave it to journalists. This is actually a...
No, I'm sure there's a story behind the urinal. I'm sure the artist had a message that was portrayed with that urinal. Now, what that message was and whether you agree with it or not are two different things, but maybe you should show the piece and tell us what the artist's intent was, because maybe they didn't tell you. Maybe they're more of a subversive kind of artist, but more than likely there's a plaque that's going to have, their intent accompanying the piece. So maybe you should do that.
Quotation from Daily Art magazine about that porcelain urinal. It says, quote, "You will be pleasantly surprised how a toilet can literally have a deep meaning." It literally cannot, but it doesn't matter because journalists are just saying stuff nowadays. They just say stuff and they tell you basically not to believe your own eyes. Trust us, don't believe your own eyes, don't believe your own ears. We will tell you what's good and what is bad. And typically what we're trying to explain.
That is exactly what you are doing with your audience right now by being selective about the piece that I'm sure they had an argument for why the piece of art was deep. But you're not telling that to your audience, are you, Candace? You're being dishonest.
To you is that bad is good. Which brings me to music. That seems to be something.
Yeah. We're just leaving the urinal alone. No context.
It's not. I talk often about Cardi B, but there are some other artists that we should discuss. And I describe these artists as too big to fail. The banks were too big to fail in '08, and they were like, oh, it's okay, we're just going to pretend everything's fine, but it wasn't fine at all. Well, there are certain artists who started and they were tremendously talented, and then they got so big that no matter what they do or what they produce, all of the journalists tell you it's amazing. One such artist is Beyonce. Beyonce recently dropped her 7th studio album. It was entitled Renaissance, and it was anything but a renaissance. It was horrible. It was a bad album. If you don't believe me, all you had to do was check the comments of any individual who heard her album on Twitter. The whole community, Black community, said this is just not her best work. It's not good. But it doesn't matter because the journalists have to do their job and tell you that it's Beyonce. And everything she does turns into sprinkles and rainbows, and shame on you if you don't see that. This is a real New York Times headline about that album. Ready? It's New York Times. "America has a problem and Beyonce ain't it." That's the title of the article. The article goes on to describe Renaissance.
I'm sure this is on the front page, by the way.
She finds escape, rebirth, community, pleasure, and control in decades of dance music steeped in Black queer bravado, whatever that is. Pitchfork, another magazine, went on to describe it.
Ma'am, there are whole scenes that have popped up around drag queens and the trans community doing these dance beats and shit. You know nothing about music, and that's why you didn't get the reference. Like there was a whole ordeal a few years ago with Kesha being accused of ripping off Big. Oh, I forgot her name, and I looked her up. She's amazing. But she's this queer artist in New Orleans that had this amazing run, and people have been stealing her beats and making big hits with it and with them, and she's not getting the credit for it. I didn't even think about that, but I would assume that the Black community, Big Frida. Yes, she's amazing. Or they are amazing. I don't know what their pronouns are. I think she.
Beyonce's seventh album is not just a pop star's immaculate dance record, but a rich celebration of club music and its sweaty, emancipatory spirit. Must be true. They're obviously just pulling adjectives out of a hat. It's sweaty, it's queer, it's bravado.
To literally describe the dance clubs throughout the 80s and 90s. And I can tell you the different waves of drugs. They were sweaty because people were like in the 80s doing coke and fucking each other, and it smelled like lube and poop because of all the gay sex that was going on. Ma'am, there have been books written about this culture that you know nothing about. But yet you're like, I'm confused as to what she's talking about. Yeah, I know what the columnist is talking about because I'm up on that culture. Just because you don't understand it doesn't make it wrong.
No, it's emancipatory. Well, if you said it, it must be true. And even though I'm not enjoying this album at all, I'll pretend to enjoy it because I guess she's too big to fail. So we just allow her to drop a really bad album, but never call it objectively bad. So is the circumstance when it comes to Taylor Swift. Just like Beyonce, she hasn't had a good studio album in a while. The last 2 or 3 Taylor Swift albums have been objectively...
I didn't like the last one, but the one... I think she has a new one. But I like the rework one that she dropped. So like there's been a lot of releases because she's been like redoing some of her old albums. And taking the power away from the record companies, which is fucking based as shit. But like a couple albums ago, I really liked several songs off of it. Like I thought she did a really good job. It was pre-pandemic though, but I'm not. And I really liked like the 10-minute version of the song about I didn't think I would like that song at all, and that was really fucking good. She did it on SNL instead of having like 2 musical performances. She had one in the middle, and it was that 10-minute fucking song, and it's really fucking good. I've listened to that multiple times. Didn't think I would like a song like that, but you can't deny the woman's talent, and the fact that she's like selling out stadiums now, good for her. And I like that she's swinging her dick around and trying to break up the industry monopoly.
Very bad. But she does not know that because no one tells her that. And whatever she produces, they just pretend that it's another layer of Taylor that we're peeling back like an onion. And that might be true. We're peeling back the layer that's really bad and it stinks. That's where we're at. Taylor Swift's music is not good. She just dropped an album that...
She thought about that all night.
And before I tell you about the album, I want you to hear Taylor Swift describe the album to you. Take a listen.
Track 3, Antihero, is one of my favorite songs I've ever written. I really don't think I've delved this far into my insecurities in this detail.
Well, let's do it. Well, you guys won't hear it, but I will. Oh, yeah. Anti-hero is what we're going for here. Hey, Swifty. Anti-hero. Oh, I gotta switch the output here. Oh, this ain't bad. I can get into this. Okay. This is catchy as fuck. Sorry, I just wanted to frame a reference there. Sorry you guys couldn't hear it. I'll go back and listen to that.
I struggle a lot with the idea that, my life has become unmanageably sized, and that I, not to sound too dark, but like I just struggle with the idea of like not feeling like a person. Like, don't feel bad for me. You don't need to. But, this song really is a real guided tour throughout.
But I can totally understand that feeling that you yourself are the art and you're always on and you're not really living a life. I totally understand that.
All the, things I tend to hate about myself. We all hate things about ourselves. And it's all of those aspects.
I was muted.
Of things we dislike and like about ourselves that we have to come to terms with if we're going to, be this person. So, yeah, I like Antihero a lot because I think it's really honest.
So, mumbo
It's catchy as fuck.
Nothing she said there made any sense, and the album doesn't make any sense, and the lyrics don't make any sense, but she's Taylor Swift, so I don't know. We're supposed to pretend that what she just said was magical, and the lyrics are magical, and she dropped a song. I guess the main song that she wants featured and that she's speaking about is Anti-Hero, like you just heard her describe. It's the lead single.
I don't think that was the main song.
Describe as true self-loathing, and it ticks off Swift's deepest insecurities. And it kicks off with this line, I have this thing where I get older, but just never wiser. Okay, I'm going to just read you some of these lyrics, and you can listen to
that. Was like the least played one, wasn't it?
If you want to hear where she is at as an artist. But here it is. The hook, the chorus is, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem.
Oh no, it's the most played one.
At tea time. Everybody agrees. I shouldn't laugh, but it's just so not good that it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Ready? This is a couple of lyrics from the verse because it gets deeper. Sometimes I feel like everybody is a sexy baby and I'm a monster on the hill. Oh my gosh, that's so deep. Let me say that to you again. Sometimes I feel like everybody is a sexy baby and I'm a monster on the hill. That is so relatable. I feel like that sometimes too. I don't know what a sex baby is, neither do you. But I guess this is supposed to be deep and we're supposed to think about it. Of course, the journalists love to describe it as cryptic and there's some deep message that's in here. So if you're not getting it because you should.
Well, did the journalist highlight those lyrics specifically?
We're not seeing how deep the porcelain urinal is, because this is porcelain urinal for music, right? More lyrics.
But okay. Because, I hate it when people do this. Because, they'll talk about, comparing music from the 60s and shit. The Beatles wrote a song called Oblu Dee Oblu Da. Fucking, come the fuck on, seriously. I just, if you, anything, I'm not saying that the Beatles don't have some brilliant fucking lyrics, right? But they have some goddamn nonsense. And they have some other shit that sounds like nonsense, but when you get the context, when you hear the story behind it, it's not nonsense. You could take any piece of a lyric that might have some fucking meaning somewhere to somebody. You can take any fucking piece of a lyric and take it out of context and be like, this doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Oblu Dee Oblu Da doesn't make any fucking sense, Candace. Or whatever kind of music you listen to. Bluegrass? Are you part of the Sweet Baby Gang? You make Matt Walsh play you bluegrass?
Lyrics. I have this dream my daughter-in-law kills me for the money. She thinks I left them in the will. The family gathers round and reads it, and then someone screams out, she's laughing up at us from hell. I don't know what any of that means, but she jumps right back into the deep chorus. It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me. It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me. Hi. It's me. Hi. Everybody agrees that this song sucks. So I just want to bring it up because we are talking about how our culture is going down the drain in America. And of course, Hollywood is a big piece of this. We don't aspire towards art. We do not.
My God, are you
lyrics them anymore? We don't produce
tones with the callback to the Chumbawamba from earlier. And my God, if you weren't even here and don't even know, if you weren't here for me singing that during the debate with Fetterman, and you just happened to throw those lyrics out. And apparently Chumbawamba is based as fuck, and they're like a commie band. Oh my God, Tones, do you not oh shit, during the Fetterman debate, Fetterman kept saying, like, I get knocked down and I get back up again. And, like, fucking, I couldn't help but, you know, make the Chumbawamba jokes and shit and sing.